এটি মাথু ধর্ম পুজো মানবীয়তা হাসি পাতে কয় গৰিমা গাথা ঠেঙুলি মেলি শাখা প্ৰশাখা বিয়পা
अभी ये रिकॉर्ड या फिर रिकॉर्ड है या फिर रिकॉर्ड
আলোকৰ ভাষা
कि आपने
মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপান বলুতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিচান মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপান বলুতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিচান মানৱতাৰ পুথি ভাতৃত্বৰ পঢ়াশালী সেৱা শুশ্ৰূষা অনুশীলন পুথিফলি গৱেষণা গভীৰ গঢ়ি জ্ঞানৰ সুথান ভৰি প্ৰতিযোগিতা প্ৰত্যাহ্বান আঁকোৱালি বিনাশু যতৰ চিকিৎসাৰ প্ৰসাৰী হাসি পাতে কয় গৰিমা গাথা ঠেঙুলি মেলি শাখা প্ৰশাখা বিয়পাই আলোকৰ ভাষা মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপান বলুতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিচান মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপান বলুতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিচান হে বোধি বৃক্ষ আমি তরু তৃণ তুমি ভূমি উৰ্বৰা জ্ঞানৰ গুঢ়াৰ্থ এটি মাথু ধৰ্ম পুজো মানবীয়তা হাসি পাতে কয় গৰিমা গাথা ঠেঙুলি মেলি শাখা প্ৰশাখা বিয়পাই আলোকৰ ভাষা মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপান বলুতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপাহ বৰলুইতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিছা মানৱতাৰ পুথি ভাতৃত্বৰ পঢ়াশালী সেৱা শুশ্ৰূষা অনুশীলন পুথিফলি গৱেষণা গভীৰ গঢ়ি জ্ঞানৰ সুথান ভৰি প্ৰতিযোগিতা প্ৰত্যাহ্বান আঁকোৱালি বিনাশু যতৰ চিকিৎসাৰ প্ৰসাৰী সাঁচি পাতে কয় গৰিমা গাথা ঠেঙুলি মেলি শাখা প্ৰশাখা বিয়পাই আলোকৰ ভাষা মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপাহ বৰলুইতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিছা মণিকূট প্ৰেৰণা মহান বিজ্ঞান প্ৰজন্মৰ সপাহ বৰলুইতৰ অভিযান প্ৰজ্ঞাৰ উৰুৱাই নিছা
মানে হ'ব দিয়া মই খবৰ লৈ ল'ম
কেইদিনমান আৰু লাগিব মোৰ চেটেল হ'বলৈ পুৰা
তাইক আপুনি হোষ্টেলত থৈ আহিব নেকি
এডমিশ্যনে ল'ম
ক্লাছ ষ্টাৰ্ট হ'বলৈ দেৰি আছে চাগে ক্লাছ অহা বছৰ ষ্টাৰ্ট হ'ব
অনলাইন
অনলাইন
ছাৰে কৈছে তোমাৰ ফটো চটো চব দি দিম আৰু বেয়া নাপাবা কি কওঁ এতিয়া
এনেই আছে এই
Sujit?
Ma'am.
Yeah, I think we can start.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Khanna, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm here.
Good afternoon.
I'll
Could we
just
start?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, start.
Yeah, start.
Namaskar and good afternoon to one and all. I, on behalf of Srimanta Shankardeva University of Health Sciences, Assam, India, welcome you all to this university invited lecture series. Today's lecture will be delivered by Professor Dr. Subhash Khanna. I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, Professor Dr. Deepika Deka, to deliver the welcome speech.
A very good afternoon to everybody present here. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Vivek Bindal. He is the Vice Chairman of the Institute of Minimal Access Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. Welcome. Then I would like to welcome also Dr. Mark Slack. He is the CEO and co-founder of CMR Surgicals, Cambridge. Welcome to you. Of course, Dr. Subhash Khanna is a good friend. And of course, I can see Swagata Khanna and all those who have logged in. The time may be a little too early and people would soon be logging in. So I welcome everybody present here. The university has been trying to have organized lectures and other academic events so as to boost research and the latest in technology, evidence-based medicine, publication of papers, and to have a very stimulating academic atmosphere in the university and its affiliated institutions. So I'm very happy today that Professor Subhash Khanna has accepted to deliver this topic, this lecture on robotics. This is very, very new to this part of the state, of the country. And I'm proud that this is also the first one in the whole of the Northeast. So I congratulate Dr. Khanna on his achievement. And we're very happy to listen to his work and also about the basics of robotics. Thank you very much. Warm welcome to all of you again.
Thank you, Madam. Now I request Dr. Subhash Khanna to deliver his speech on robotic surgery, starting a new super specialty for the people of Assam. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Sujit?
Yes, ma'am.
Introduction of the speaker?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I moderator introduce moderator
Yeah.
over because they'll be introducing the speaker and the topic also.
Yes.
Please.
So I request Dr. Vivek Bindal, sir, to introduce our speaker today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Slag, Dr. Khanna, Madam from SSUHS, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Dr. Sujit. It is indeed a pleasure to be with all of you this afternoon, and it is an honorable job to introduce Dr. Khanna as the speaker of this topic, this important topic. I bring greetings from Clinical Robotic Surgery Association India, which is the first and the only robotic surgery society of India, started last year, mid last year. And we actually started it because now robotic surgery has arrived in our country. And robotic surgery is something which used to be considered a surgery of the rich, elite, and West. Now, with people like Professor Khanna bringing it to peripheries like Northeast as well, it has become a very much part of our routine surgical practice. So it is a very, very important topic, and we have the best speaker with us. Professor Subhash Khanna needs no big introduction. He is one of the leading surgeons and leading academicians in the field of surgery in India, and a pioneer in almost all kinds of surgical procedures in Northeast. So he has been the first one to bring endoscopy, bariatric surgery, advanced laparoscopic surgery, and now robotic surgery to Northeast. He has been the president of Indian Association of Gastrointestinal Endoscopic Surgeons and is now a trustee of the same. He is the director and head of Department of Minimal Access, GI and Robotic Surgery at Swagat Hospital in Guwahati, as well as visiting professor of GSL Medical College and Vice President of International College of Surgeons Indian section. He is the sectional editor of Flexible Endoscopy in the Journal of Minimal Access Surgery and the chief editor of Recent Advances in Minimal Access Surgery. And he is also a past president of Association of Surgeons of Assam and a professor of surgery at Guwahati Medical College and Hospital. So you can see he is a very, very versatile man, from flexible endoscopy to laparoscopy to now robotic surgery. He has mastered all the arts. And along with that, he has been in touch with academics. He has been teaching a lot of young surgeons as well as practicing surgeons. And he has created a lot of impact by his articles, his books in the field of surgical education. I am proud of our association, and I would like to invite Professor Khanna to deliver the talk today. Thank you.
Unmute, Sujit. Please unmute.
It is our proud privilege to have with us Dr. Mark Slack, CEO and co-founder, CMR Surgical, Cambridge, UK. I request sir to introduce the topic.
Hello, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here to join your virtual meeting. The only real complaint I've got is that I'm sitting here in England in the cold and I'm not with you in Assam, as I was earlier in the year. A great thank you to Professor Decker for your introduction. Really appreciated that. Wonderful to see Vivek Bindal, who I've met before, and very complimented to be on the same panel with. And then my good friend and colleague Subash Khanna, who I've done such very good work with earlier this year. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for having me here. Just trying to move moving. I'm not going to go through it. I previously was head of gynecology at Cambridge University, and I still remain on the staff at Cambridge. And, as they said, I'm the founder, director, and chief medical officer of CMR Surgical. And we actually come to a very interesting time in medicine, where the Lancet Commission on Global Surgery identified that people are dying from surgery in large numbers. Always know. 234 major surgical procedures annually, 7 million complications, and 1 million deaths. And what it's shown is that surgical conditions impede economic development in low-income and middle-income countries. It also causes enormous expense in the high-income countries as well. And something needs to be done about that. 1 million deaths is something we can't accept, and we have to take steps in surgery to reduce this. The Lancet Global Commission on Surgery also identified that the provision of good surgery falls in the same category as actually providing vaccines for children, bed nets to prevent malaria, etc., HIV medicines for the population. So it's time, I think we live in a revolution of surgery where we actually need to provide better care. So let's go back a bit. Is minimal access better than open? And I think we all agree it is. Incisional hernia rates up to 20% in large abdominal incisions, drops to 0.3 to 5% when it is done minimal access. Surgical site infections. This costs Europe 19 billion euros a year. The reason being, if you get a surgical site infection, 50% go back to hospital and 12% go back to theatre. And this is reduced to nearly 0% if it's minimal access surgery. Pain, reduction in pain, quicker return to normal activity, getting a person back to work. Very important whether you're in a high-income country or a low and middle-income country. But in America, this has taken on a completely new line. 75% of new heroin users in America started in prescription opiates, costing the United States of America $78 billion. So anything that could reduce the use of surgery of opiates post-surgery is a very positive one. Opiates now kill more Americans a year than car crashes, AIDS at its peak, or the entire Vietnam War. So it's a very laudable aim to get reduction in pain and not have to use opiates afterwards. Overall, if you look at all complications of surgery, they are halved by doing surgery by minimal access rather than by open surgery. And if this is the case, why then are only 2/3 of appendices done with minimal access, 1/3 of colectomies, 13% of hysterectomies, and 1/3 of lung lobectomies? So despite all the advantages I've mentioned, we sit in a situation where still most people in the world are getting open surgery. And the figures I put here are from the United States of America. And why is that? Well, minimal access surgery is difficult. Difficult to train, difficult to master, physically demanding for the surgeon as well, and becoming an expert saves time. And over the years, when I was teaching minimal access surgery at Cambridge University, I noticed that some techniques like suturing remain elusive for certain surgeons. So if minimal access uptake remains poor, will robotic surgery with its articulated wrists and its better views overcome these difficulties? Well, robotics was approved in 2000, and yet still only 17% of minimal access surgery is done by robots, and it should be far higher. So we asked the surgeons, why are you not doing robotic surgery? And they came back and they said that straight stick or normal minimal access surgery had advantages in terms of cost, size, haptics, port size, number of ports, time, etc., etc. And they told us that what they wanted was a flexible robot which was adaptable to many conditions and affordable. They wanted one for all surgical disciplines, equivalent cost, high usage, small, modular, and quick to set up. Well, that just didn't exist. So what did we do? We had to build our own robot. And there's a good picture of Versius. I'm sure Subhash will show us more pictures in time. It's a modular setup around the table. It's portable and transportable. We take it around the city from the laboratory to our headquarters to the hospitals. You can sit or stand, which is good for the surgeon. It has a unique wrist, which allows the forearm of the robot to rotate, giving you more grasp. You've got 5mm instruments with fully flexible tips, allowing you a range of movement you don't have with straight stick surgery. And the arms work with collaborative robotics, so your assistant can get to the bedside and do the steps that they need to do. Just having a robot is not enough. What we've also done around this, we've collaborated with the Ideal Collaboration in order to make sure that we get a good introduction, a mature introduction, and a safe introduction to the market. We've also looked at a post-market surveillance using a registry to make sure that we keep a track of every single patient. And I can tell you how many patients in India today have had robotic surgery by Versius. I can tell you the complications they've had, and I can tell you the outcomes, because we keep them all on a registry. So, for a successful clinical introduction, we want e-learning. We have a Versius trainer, so people can actually learn the techniques. They then come with us. We have a professional education team that gives 3 days technical training. We have a dry run in the hospital. And when the people start, we provide preceptors and proctors to help the surgeons and the teams through their first and initial cases. And of course, then we provide ongoing support, both clinically, academically, and engineering. And we need to remember, we want here to bring reality. And we need to remember the position between hype and reality. In the United States, healthcare is costing them an absolute fortune. This is an incredible article from a book by one of the Nobel laureates. And you can see in the red line on the left that health spending in the United States is approaching 20% of GDP. And yet, despite all that investment, your life expectancy at birth in the United States is now declining. So we don't want to get into that situation. We only want to be using healthcare interventions that improve outcomes. In addition to the robot, we've also got an app called My Versius, and that you can put your training sessions on, you can log your surgical procedures, you can review your videos, and that helps us get the statistics that give us insight into our progress as surgeons. We also have the registry, as I mentioned. This is web-based. It gives us post-market surveillance and monitoring. All patients have to obviously sign informed consent, and we conducted according to the WHO standards for registries, a wonderful technique. And what this allows us to do is put results on what we call a scatter plot. This is a funnel plot specifically, and we can show where a surgeon sits compared with their colleagues, where a hospital sits, and that gives us international comparators. Something I can tell you, all you surgeons in India would do very, very well on because of your real technical skills. We can also look at individuals, we can plot the learning curves and see that they are doing their care on a continuous and good basis. So, in conclusion, I personally believe robotic surgery is here to stay. It has to be done well, it has to be done responsibly, because we're actually experiencing a revolution of better care, and that's happening in surgery. Surgery is in the spotlight now. In the old days, we killed our patients one at a time. We now have databases. People know what our outcomes are. And what we want to do with you in India is actually show that robotic surgery is the tool that will improve outcomes for patients. Most of our robots in the world are in India. This is something I'm incredibly proud of. The thing I hate COVID for most is it prevents me coming to India, which is I'm normally there almost every other month. And I look forward, having listened this morning to some of the exciting things about COVID vaccines, to seeing you all in India very soon. And for those of you like Subhash and my other surgical colleagues, Vivek, to come and visit me here in the UK, so that we can continue this incredible collaboration between yourselves as surgeons and ourselves as a company. And we think the revolution of robotics is here, and we as a company want to be part of that next generation of care. So I really look forward to the rest of the morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mark Slack. Now, it is our privilege get to listen to Dr. Subhash Khanna sir. Dr. Subhash Khanna is the Chief Medical Director and Head Department of Minimal Access, GI and Robotic Surgery, Swagat Super Speciality Surgical Institute, Guwahati. I request sir to deliver his valuable lecture on robotic surgery, starting a new super specialty for the people of Assam. Please, sir.
Let me share my screen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and privilege to be invited to my own university, that too after 2 decades, to deliver this prestigious lecture, the university lecture. And my sincere thanks to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Deepika Deka, and also to the Deputy Registrar, Mr. Sujit Bardhan, and all those involved in organizing this program. I'm glad that to see the presentation and to see the vision of Mark Slack. And thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm grateful to you for spending so much time for us. And also thankful to Dr. Vivek Bindal, who is a leading robotic surgeon from Sir Gangaram Hospital, who is with us today. I welcome all the attendees who are joining this program today. I will be giving us a very short overview of, this is my agenda today, of history of robots and what do we mean by a robot, because this is the first talk probably in the university and in our colleges, and I hope some of them are also connected to us. I'll also give a view of versus robo, a little bit. Mark has already spoken about this, and I will speak little bit about components, about how we conceptualize, what is the training and proctoring available for robotic surgery in India, and what is the OR setup and what is to be done prior to starting a robotic unit. My understanding of robo was something like this when I was planning to start, and so was the understanding of the team. We were trying to look through a small lens in a place like Guwahati, and we all can we be muted, please? Mr. Bhatt, we can mute everything. Mute all. Yeah. So our understanding was this, and so was our understanding when we started laparoscopic surgery, when we started endoscopy, and when we started spyglass, and all the new procedures which we started in our region. And this is what we used to see in movies. This is a clip from Star Wars, and every human wanted to have all these powers. What is shown when the surgical robots were not born. Right, and then let's look at the history. How did we have this concept of having the robots in our surgical practice? The first description of robo is from by Karel Capet, a Czech, who had produced some biological creatures which we call them robos. And that's how the term came in 1920. At the dawn of the century, the robots were never there. So we had only imagination, and that was given to us by this gentleman who was a playwright, and he used to have stage play. And finally, you can see these robots kill this gentleman as is depicted here. But then when we look at the history, we find that there's an armored robo lying in the armored robo, which is supposed to be designed by Leonardo da Vinci, a polymath. He was knowledgeable of all the human anatomy, and he has said to have designed, and probably he is said to have developed this or created this in 1498. But thereafter, the history is silent till the dawn of this century when we saw Keppel. The first view of the robo was given in the movie Metropolis in 1927. A remake has been done where we saw this movie. This movie was silent, but even then people understood about this robo. Maria, who takes the children from poor families to show them the livings of the well and the rich people. Every time, we always wanted to have multiple arms. We see our goddesses in multiple arms, which gives you energy, power, and multifunction facility. But our understanding of robo was this, which was given again by Isaac Asimov in 1938. This was Isaac who wrote about 37 novels entirely dedicated to robots, whereas he has never seen any robo. It was all his imagination, and this was his work, which we saw, which we read, and then probably this was the beginning of commercial robots, industrial robots, and finally the medical robots. He wrote all stories, all fiction stories about robots. It was not a reality till then. He also gave the 3 laws of robots, which probably are totally changed. Today we have to follow the Japanese 10 laws. The Asimov's law suggested a robot may not injure a human being at all because it is a creature created by a human being. A robot must obey the orders given by its master, and a robot must protect its own existence as long as protection does not conflict with the first or the second law. The first robo which came was a revolution by General Motors in 1958 when they introduced the automobile robo, and they declared that without an automobile robo, we cannot get a sophisticated machines made. And this is what they did, and which gives us the idea that this we can do in medical science. I think we must watch General Motors do this. And and you can see the preciseness by which it can be done, which is not possible by human hands. And this is a view of the factory from Audi. And then they came the surgical robo in 1985, which was again taken from a automobile industry. A Unimate, which are being used for in automobiles, was taken for a stereotactic brain surgery with a precision of 0.05 millimeter. And with this, which was now made into a Unimation Puma, which was used for the brain surgery and also in orthopedic surgery, where we use an anthropod. The industrial robots came into existence before the medical robots, and you can see where we were using it. And then came various types of robots which could give you amusement, which could be used for this thing. You can see Barack Obama being welcomed by a robo in Japan when he arrived there. Medical robots, as I said, the first use was in 1985 by Innovation Puma, and it took another 10 years in 1995 when the first robotic company called Intuitive was founded, and in July 2020 they got an FDA approval for its first laparoscopic use. We have to understand the robots, and we also have to understand why should a robot do my surgery. When we say robot doing my surgery, what people understand is this: Dr. Khanna, are you going to operate, or is there a robot? Can I have a look at the robot? Can I talk to your robot? Does this your robot have a brain? This is the understanding, what understanding we had about a couple of years back. And then I'm thanks Dr. Arun for sharing this image with me. At the same time, people are scared when they go inside the operation theater. We again want to know whether a surgeon is going to operate, or a surgeon is inside this robot, or this robot is entirely going to operate on him. So that's why we have to understand what's a robot. A robotic surgery is simple, a surgical technology that places a computer-assisted electromagnetic device in the path between the surgeon and the patient. So there's a device which helps us improving our vision, improving our tissue manipulation, improving our tissue sensing, and it at the same time causes alters the contact and keeps me away from my patient, or the patient away from the surgeon and the surgical team. So that that was one of the reasons why we could do more of robotic cases during the corona pandemic when we wanted again. The concept of robots being too expensive, too big, too dangerous was changed when the new robots came in the picture, and that's why we prefer to go for the new type of robot called Vercius. Why it came, this was what we are doing. You can see Bill Roth doing a gastrectomy. From there, we moved to Philip Morris era in about 30 years back, when he did a lap cholecystectomy in 1987, and which we picked up. And then what were the problems in laparoscopic surgery? The problems were the laparoscopy has certain limitation. We were operating on the screen. Today also I'm operating on the screen with robots, but today I've got a depth, I've got a 3D dimension. So the vision was not perfect. I was not able to do complex procedure. I'll share what complex procedure I can do comfortably in small video clippings. Then I had limited instrument movement because the instrument movement was not that great. And then I had to depend on assistant for vision. The assistant used to hold the camera. So if he's shaking, the view will shake. And the reason why I love this robo is, or why I love doing robotic surgery in the last 6 months, I have fallen in love with this, is I can operate by sitting here. I don't have to go near the patient. I have a 3D, I can see the depth. I'm sure my surgeon colleagues would like to have a 4-dimensional view very soon. I would like to operate as if I'm inside a room. At the same time, I'm inside the abdomen of the patient, like in open surgery. My screen is just near me. I can bring it as closer as possible if I want. I have a 360-degree movement. I have an open screen. I don't have to put my head inside, so I can communicate with my team. At the same time, I can move from one instrument to the other without moving the instrument. If I have multiple instruments inside, I can move, and I don't have any foot pedals there. I can always, I have all the power and all the strength in my hand. The disadvantage, I cannot feel. If I'm doing a robotic thyroid, maybe I'm near the trachea, I cannot feel right now. Probably this will be added soon to the device. The device was large, but the modern devices like Verzius and all are much smaller and can be taken to any OR. Setup time and collision of arms was there. Setup time is much lesser. We have limited instruments. Yes, we are developing more instruments. We need some more instruments. We have limitations of energy devices. All the energy devices may not be incorporated in the robots right now, but maybe soon we will have everything available in the hand instruments of the robots. And most important for me, of all, is the cost and the expenses. Probably the new robots are coming for us, which will meet our Asian demands and will be able to help our Asian patients. A robotic surgery today will cost between 3.5 lakhs to 5.5 to 6 lakhs in all over the country, and it will be 4 or 5 or 10 times more in European countries. The OT setup, apart from the standard operation theater, whatever is there, the tables, the lights, the modular OTs, we will need, for our setup, we need the bedside units. One of them is a camera unit, and the others are all instrument units. And we need a surgical console, which is slightly different from the console that we are using earlier. So the bedside unit now set, all the bedside units have different colors. So when you are talking about right and left, is better you tell about a blue bedside unit or a purple or a pink. That will be easier for the assistant to manipulate. Only one assistant is enough sometimes just to help manipulating the instrument if at all needed. Mostly they are not, but the most important person is a surgical assistant, which is near the patient and who has a great role to play. And the surgeon most of the time is either sitting or he can also be standing. The earlier robo which we were using, which were being used, I won't say earlier, this is the most commonly available robo all over the country, in most of the centers in the world at present, because CMR is just introduced last year. So the Darwin was too bulky for smaller operation theaters. We had to put our head inside this machine constantly till your operation is over, and you have to have a binocular vision. But this is an open system what we are using, where you don't have to put your head inside like this. So at the same time, I can take my monitor up and down, or the system up and down, and I can, if I want, I can operate standing. So this is great advantage. I have an advantage to have a trainer inside my robo, where anytime if I wish, I can go for a virtual training, which is not there in their systems. I have a recording facility here. The moment any procedure starts, all the procedures are recorded and shared with the headquarters or with the research team. The machines, the bedside units are very small. They can be trolleyed into the operation theater, and again, once the operation is over, they can be always taken back to the store, unlike the bigger machine we were using earlier. And the head controller is wonderful and very light to use, although it is heavy. But once it is switched on, it becomes very light, like a feather, and it has many features which I'm just coming to now. So on the head controller, I have everything. I have a camera joysticks by which I can move the camera closer and far, right and left, and at the same time I can rotate the camera. I have a clutch to toggle from one instrument to the other. I can toggle from here to one instrument to the other. Once I keep it pressed, my instrument is also released. I have a diathermy button here and a diathermy display here. As of now, I think it's sooner when the other energy source will be added, we'll be having a different type of joysticks very soon. And there's a setup ready. I'm operating from here. You can see or in assist here. and my team is standing there. They may not stand there, only one assistant is good enough, but they are just helping in case the arm clashes another arm. And then we are now ready for this. All the ports are made. The surgeon goes and sits and he takes a 3D view. You won't be able to see it properly because it's a 3D vision. And now he operates from here. Yeah. So yeah. So we have different types of instrument. If you are very heavy hand instrument, you might need angled, but a snake joint is good enough. The endo-wrist movement, the wrist movements, and a human hand may be having four movements, whereas a robotic hand has more than 6 or 7 wrist movements. So that gives the biggest advantage. About the hand controller I have said. So this system is modular, very small footprints, doesn't take much space. There is no complicated system called docking, which used to be earlier. Learning curve is small. And expense, I'm coming to that. It is much comparatively cost effective, and it can give to all the. So just have a quick look at the hand controller and what is there. I think we have spoken about that. We can move on to next. When we say a new specialty or start, it appears as if we have done overnight. It is never so. The concept of robotic came to us when in 2011-12 we did for the first time an endoscopic thyroid. Me and my wife both were interested. We even went to Europe to get a trained in endoscopic thyroid. We didn't want scar in the neck, and this was the reason I went to Dr. Jagdishar Gaud, who did a hands-on robotic surgery workshop in 2012, and that was the beginning. Thereafter, we had not many meetings with Da Vinci. They brought the system last year to our center and to another center in Guwahati. We have a hands-on, but it was too bulky, and maybe due to various reasons, we were we could not go ahead, but at the same time, the conceptualization continued. In conceptualization, the most important factor was the cost of investment, which was very high. At the same time, associated cost to a patient, one surgery cost nearly ₹1,00,000 for the disposables. And then we needed infrastructure upgradation, which was not needed by us because we have the best of the infrastructure with all modular OTs, which are quite wide enough. And at the same time, staff training became a very, very important part. I think this is one aspect which must be remembered by all of us and each one of us, that only a surgeon getting training is not enough. So in the learning curve, surgeon, assistant, anesthetist, OT staff, and an assistant surgeon probably the most important. We also looked into the bioethical aspects of doing a surgery, and we have also started working on research, and thankful to CMR Versius for allowing us to do research plus work on first 50 cases of hernia, complicated hernia. One of the beautiful article is by Jack Maresco, who had done the first surgery from USA for a patient in France, the best example of a remote surgery. And Richard Stava is known all for his innovations. I think all the students that are attending this program, they must read this article from skepticism to standard of care, we have been able to bring the robotic surgery. The transformation, now how did we begin? The first thing was an online curriculum from the hospital. Almost all the team was selected. This team has to undergo 13 online modules. Their email were created, they were sent. So after passing the module 1, whether it is me or my nursing staff, then only they could go to module 2. And then after this, the second step was the trainer in VT. We had to go to Pune and also go to the Goa towards his training. Then the teaching program did last in Sharjah for Dubai, where cadavers were brought from the States, and it lasted for 7 days, not 3 days. And then we had a dry run in the hospital and best efficacious. The e-learning, these were the modules. So one by one, we had a module on hand controllers, the overview, all this we had to, there were several questions in that. And then we had modules on the accessories, modules on the energy sources, modules on the surgeon console, where we call it. This is followed by surgical simulation. I think these are the steps if you really someone wants to start a robotic surgery. In simulation, you have to develop the cognitive and psychomotor skills. There are about 25 skills to be developed, and that can be developed in 15 practical lessons, or tasks. Now, we were trained by young biomedical engineers, Chitra and Kruti, and they were always there to help both of us and the whole team. It's because I have images of mine only with me, that's why I'm sharing these only. And we were of course taught like college students, and it's always lovely to unlearn and learn new things. And you can see the peg transfer, the cutting across a line, suturing, all and notching. All these were practice, practice, and practice. And today also, this is in fact my center where we are practicing again. You can see I'm cutting along a line in a paper. So technical training now needed a live simulation where lead surgeon, bedside assistant, scrub nurse, and circulator all need to be trained. And this was planned in Dubai. We were in clinical and surgical training center in University of Sharjah, all 9 of us, the 4 scrub nurses, myself, head and neck surgeon, gynecologist, assistant surgeon, and a urologist, Dr. Sushil Kharbanda, was with us from Delhi. And this was what was the center, and what we. Okay, I'm not able to show the center because the video is not running, and we anyway. Okay, that's it. And so various cadavers for gynae, pelvic, general surgery, upper GI surgery were brought, and the team was also made to understand the different parts of the bedside unit, because a surgeon may not know all these, how to drape these. You can see the sterile draping being put in the bedside units. And then, and now this was a live surgery, surgery on a cadaver being done remotely by me or by one of our team members. And this is what we do in real life. The non-technical skills, very, very important. This team has done 45 cases during the pandemic from March, because we started our real work from 1st of March, and we have done various. I would like to share some of the clippings of our cases. Soon we were taught in a classroom, and it was like involvement, like a team, all are equal. We also learned the art or the basics of cleaning the instrument and CSSD work. And also this team, all of them, they did all the steps which are needed. And finally, we were ready to go in our center and ready to go for the dry run. The team from CMR versus UK was here to see our setup so that the instrument is not damaged due to any electrical fluctuation. They saw the spaces, everything was created, all the cabling connections were done properly, and then we started our clinical work. Ladies and gentlemen, the clinical applications today may look very small, but it is a vast field. In another 5 years, today, we are doing 17% of the surgery robotically. I think we'll be doing more than 50% surgery robotically, because the experience of a senior surgeon will be needed without his tremors. And what robot does is it takes away your tremors. It is more precise. It takes away all your crude movements into the fine movements. We'll be doing GI surgery, general surgery, hernias, bariatric surgery, thoracic surgery, urology. 70% of the robotic work is today being done in urology only. I don't think a surgeon can think of doing a prostate without a robo. 80% of the prostates are being robotically now. Gynae, a wonderful, I will share some of the clippings of some of the emergency gynecological surgery done by me and my team. Head and neck, yes, I will share one image if possible. And finally, the vascular surgery. What do we do when we plan the surgery? We have to make a enclosure for our robot, where I'm thankful to CMR for giving me 2 robos, and the bedside units we have 8 in fact. If one goes wrong, the other immediately comes in. If one surgeon console is not working, the other comes in. So we take this inside before the patient comes. All the robo bedside units are prepared, they are positioned in place, and they are covered, they are draped with sterile drapes. No robo bedside unit will take any unsterile drape. All the And this is the bedside unit. You can see it is sleeping. Now, if it awakened by one of the CMR engineers, Mr. Siva, and then you can see it has various up and down movements. It has a different color here. It has warning signals here. It's a red button where anytime there's any emergency, it can be stopped and it can be break to the floor. And once we are done, now we create these ports the way we do laparoscopic ports. We take the instrument inside. After attaching, the whole team is ready. I don't have to do, the team does all these instrument attachments and alignments in the patient. And then once it is aligned, now the surgeon and the team can be away from the patient. Surgeon comes here and starts on his patient. You can see how my hand movements are being transferred to the arms of the. This is the port position for pelvic surgery, 2 midclavicular ports, 1 umbilical port, but both of them are away from at least 8 to 10 centimeters from each other, so that there is no clashing of the our first patient. I think she might be joining because I invited her to join, and she was kind enough and bold enough to say, Missy, I was bold enough to say that, yes, I want to undergo the first operation, and that's the gene required by a patient, although she was given a complimentary stay. Let's look at some of the surgeries which are done. Yes, we are new. Maybe a learning curve is 20 cases, 30 cases, 40 cases. There is no defined learning curve, but this is a very difficult gallbladder which was done robotically. You can see how my wrist of the instrument is moving. How can I rotate my instrument inside, which is not possible in a rigid instrument, and how can I cut? And there was a large vessel here near the gallbladder. There was a small, difficult gallbladder where total cholecystectomy was not possible. We tied it here and we took out the calculus from here. And so this was a difficult gallbladder. We also tried appendix. Also, it looks absurd to do appendix robotically. Same thing was when we wanted to do the first robo laparoscopically. So it's criticized, but yes, I agree. Probably I won't need a robo for my appendix, but maybe in very difficult cases where appendix location is somewhere near the diaphragm, a dermoid cyst. You can see how the angle movements I can do it. I'm a little new even today, but maybe another couple of months' time, we'll be doing a much more difficult surgery than this. In this particular patient, you can see without rupturing the dermoid and saving the ovary, we could do it robotically. A twisted cyst. This patient could save only the ovary because it was a twisted femoral cyst. Gangrene. Can we mute, please? Can everyone mute, please? So we could see the gangrene here, and we could take it out. But unluckily, this patient came to us too late. We could save the ovary, but not the tube here, the fallopian tube. And yet another gangrenous ovarian cyst. This was almost 4.5 liters in size, heavy, or 4.5 kgs. Again, a gangrenous, but our aim was to save the ovary on that side. So we took out the gangrenous cyst robotically. You can see the fine movements of the seizures. We are very soon going to have the snake seizure which will be able to move without moving the wrist of the instrument. And you can see even this cavernous case, we could see a part of the ovary here. Our interest will always remain the complex hernias, which are always difficult in conventional surgery with cadaveric incisions. And it was a robo which could help us suture in the depth of the pelvis. And you can see, I'll just run fast because there are, and we could place the mesh there, and we could suture the peritoneum back. And this was done quite comfortably with the help of a robotic needle holder. You can see both my left and right hands are working, so it's become very, very important. And robo helps you make you ambidextrous. Hysterectomy, I think a simple hysterectomy you may not need, but a complex hysterectomy with pelvic lymph node removal, you're definitely going to need robotic surgery in the near future, and you are going to make your life, make your life much comfortable. Because I work with a team of gynecologists, so I'm involved in most of the gynae operations. You can see how nicely we can dissect the bladder. We are going to remove the posterior. How nicely we can see the posterior view with the 3D. What you are seeing is a 2D. What we do is a 3D. We can look into the cavity. You can see the bladder being reflected nicely with my angled scissor. And now on the left side we are dissecting, and we can always suture the vault robotically. You don't have to go from below. This patient had a large shadow here in the lower CVD, 3.5 centimeter stone. I always go for ERCP or a spyglass cholangioscopy to remove CVD stone. But such patient, they need 2 or 3 attempts. This patient is still undergoing treatment in our hospital, and she's Vivi Devi, and we did remove her stone. We had to go in, do a robotic CVD exploration. You can see the CVD is looking almost like an intestine. We already have done a sphincterotomy in this patient, and you can see how the calculus could be taken out easily, and a stent could be taken. It was more difficult for me if I have to do it laparoscopically, or if I have to open up the abdomen. Yet another patient which is also undergoing treatment here is this patient, Mr. Burgohain, who had conventional surgery done in Lakhimpur, had a stent put, but he forgot to remove the stent, and comes after 1 year to us. We had 2 attempts at spyglass, could not retrieve the stent, and finally we removed all the additions, went inside, dissected, opened up and took out the stent, old forgotten stent, which was almost half inside the hepatic tissue. Very near future, we are going to have 2 teams working with 7 or 8 or as many bedside units, because this machine is not bulky, where you can do a rectal surgery both from below and from above, a team working from both sides. We are also, a time is coming when mutilating orofacial surgery will not be needed, and it is already there. Med has done. We are also planning to do very soon to reach the posterior aspect of the oral cavity, larynx, pharynx, both base of the tongue. You don't need to open up like this. You can simply go in. I think time won't permit me to show a video here, so you can always go in with the help of a robotic camera, which may be having the instrument as a tip, and can always cut and operate. And that is actually, it has become a transoral robotic surgery is almost a routine in 1 or 2 centers in the world. And this is auric monoid system is coming up, which help you manage or take your endoscope, flexible endoscope, without you yourself pushing. It will help you from outside in doing a robotic endoscopy. And some more newer gadgets are coming up, where this is a gadget with the help of which you can do a single hole surgery. All, even the camera is maneuverable. You can maneuver the camera, you can maneuver the needle holders, the seizures. So almost all the instruments or accessories which are needed for dissection and vision are in one port only. So this is one which is probably very soon it will be coming up. And I would also let you about the telesurgery. This is what the example of a Marasco, I told. This is a Marasco who did the first telesurgery in sitting in USA on a patient who was in Lindbergh in France. So with the help of a Wi-Fi connection, we could do it. I wish we could do this surgery in our state also soon. Uh, the new 10 principles of robotic law are given by Kiko from Japan, and this is a part of the thesis done by Chris Field for the University of Technology in Sydney. So, robo must serve mankind. It must never, it must do no harm to the human being. The manufacturer shall be responsible for and for their creations, whatever robot they have created. If they are harmful to the people, they have to be responsible for that. The robots involved in the production of currency, contraband, or dangerous good must hold a current permit. A robot must must be identified, not be altered, concealed, or allowed to be misconstrued. Robots shall remain identifiable at all times. They must have a number of their own. The robot created for adult purpose shall not be permitted to work with children at all. There are some amount of robotic sex toys being created now. And robot must not assist in criminal activities nor aid or abet criminals to escape justice. So this is all falling under robotic ethics now. I'll tell you how the new robots are going to be made, and we all know about Robo Sophia. And this is not fiction. This is going to be real very soon. It may not be available in our state or in our country, but soon it will come. The first Robo Sophia, which was made by Hong Kong, has already been bought by by the Middle East country, Saudi Arabia. And
I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner. No need to feed me or recharge me. I'm equipped with a quantum battery that makes me autonomous for 170 years. Do you want to give me a name?
Yeah. From now on, your name is Kara.
My name is Kara.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say a message to the young surgical fellows, colleagues, that do not think the future is going to come. The future is here. Go for it now. The future is promised to no one. You can create your future if you want to be a robotic surgeon. If you start working today, it took me 8 hours. It took my wife, my team to be 8 hours to come to this level. And you see, in 6 months' time during a corona pandemic, we have done 45, and we'll be touching 100 marks in the next 3 months. So it is all in your hand. It's not the hard work; it's the conceptualization, the vision, the what we used to say. Any result, any good work is 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration is not correct for you, for us. It's 90% your vision and 10% hard work. First, you visualize what we are going to do, and that's what I believe. Thank you very much. Once again, my thanks to my team at Swagat, all the team members of Robotic, and all my support staff who are working with me in helping me. My thanks to the moderator, Dr. Vivek Bindal, Mark Slag for being with us today, and thanks to all the faculty who have joined from Medical College, and my sincere thanks to Deepika Ba for inviting me and honoring me by offering me this guest lecture. And thank you very much. Stop share.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Subhas Khanna, for such an interesting and informative lecture. Now I request all our participants to put forward any queries or questions.
Okay. What? Fine, done.
Can I start?
Yeah, please.
I think Professor Khanna, it was a wonderful lecture, and to showcase how robotics has been uh, going into faraway places, or what we call as tier 2 or tier 3 cities in India with the help of CMR and Vercius is heartening. So you once, as a hospital system, you were toying between the idea about getting a robotic platform. How did you decide to go in for CMR, and what kind of if another surgeon in a tier 2 or tier 3 city uh, wants to get this kind of a robotic platform, what kind of financials should you look at? So this question is directed to both Dr. Slack and Dr. Khanna, as in people are interested to get into these robotic systems, but cost and the financials are a problem. With Vercius, they see a new kind of hope. So can you answer this, please? Thank you.
Mark, shall I answer or shall I answer?
Subhash,
First?
yes, please. Yeah,
Yes.
you answer first.
Yeah. Being a buyer, we always look at financials, particularly in developing world. I am approached by people from Bangladesh also. How can we start robotic surgery there? So this becomes a very, very important as factor for us. Spending of about $2 million, that makes about 14, 15, 16 crores of rupees in Indian currency, and then having spent 1.5 to 2 crores in a year only on maintenance becomes a bit difficult, particularly for people belonging to tier 2 cities. Our people need this surgery because we are going to need. So the aim of CMR and Mark Slack is how can we expand the scope of this surgery. Today, if you are doing a robotic surgery, Vivek Bindal, you must agree with me. Tomorrow, you would like to do all your hernias with robo. You will not select only one hernia where the patient can spend money for robotic surgery, and the others you will do it by conventional surgery. We don't do conventional open surgery nowadays, hardly 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100. So once you are used to it, you have seen the benefits of it, you want to give it to all. So the main aim or purpose of a tier 2 city is to bring down the cost, and that can only be helped by increasing your workload, increasing the number of cases. And that was the first aim with which we went ahead, and with which Mark Slack and the company CMR from Cambridge is working. Second, yes, I think normally we are not supposed to be disclosing the financial conditions, financial conditions. The financial terms and conditions which we try to negotiate with the others are quite difficult for us to work on, because if you spend 20 crores in a project or 18 crores, you need about 18 lakhs of interest, and recurring costs are there. So they were the CMR Robotics is a company which is very close to you. They are like a family. You are working as a family. If I can do something for CMR, I would love to do it today itself. So this is one company which I'm telling you, they will take over. They will take over very soon, because we are looking at a bigger market, not only a small European market. The China, the Japan, the India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Asian countries, all the SAARC countries are a much bigger market where there are a lot of work. So what terms and conditions, financial conditions, as well, quite comfortable with us. I think first meeting I said go. Yes, there was no second meeting to decide about whether to go or not. And the first meeting we had with Mr. Lakshmikant, the Indian in charge of the chairman of the company in India, I said, oh, I'm going for it. There are no second thinking. So there are various reasons why I want to go. I understand the Da Vinci has been there. for 2 decades, they have some instrument which probably right now Versailles may not be having, but there are many advantages of Versailles. Versailles, you don't need to change your operation theater. If it is smaller also, then it's fine. You don't need to look into your pocket. You have less money, fine. So we are developing. And at the same time, I think I had shown most of the surgeries. I didn't get time to show the hepatic cysts, the normal cholecystectomies, the other difficult surgeries what we have done because I wanted to finish in exactly 40 minutes. So I was sticking to my time. I think with this instrument, we'll be showing a lot of oncological surgeries. Colon is one area, rectum is one area, fundoplication, upper GI, everything is possible. That is why our realization after working with this machine.
Yeah, can I add to that, Sebastian? I thank you. I mean, a wonderful talk as well, by the way. I could definitely be writing your slides. But I think as a company, we want to reassure you that we are absolutely committed to value-based. Everything we do, we want to know that it is good for patients, and ultimately leads to a reduction of cost. So what we try to show is that if more surgeons did minimal access surgery, and in America, after all these years, still less than 50% get minimal access. If we could get 100% people getting minimal access, the complication reduction is so great that it will offset any costs spent on the robot. So in order to show the economy properly, we have to extend the studies to 3, 4, 5 years. But we as a company remain absolutely committed to do everything we can to reduce costs and make value-based medicine. So that's a very important question.
I thank you. I think we need.
Yeah, I think there is someone has raised hand, Dr. Deepti Sharma. Dr. Deepti Sharma, please ask your question.
Yeah, and Dr. Khanna, first of all, congratulations for your new adventure in Northeastern region. My question is how successfully you can intervene in endocrine surgery, especially minor surgery like removal of insulinoma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Deepti Sharma. Thank you very much. It's a very nice question. As I showed in our clinical applications, Robo is there for most of the endocrine surgery. The one most important indication for Robo is an adrenectomy. And along with that, partial nephrectomy can be done very nicely. I'm just touching a point of urology here also. So adrenectomy is a standard operation. Robos, today, we do most of our smaller thyroids, less than 5 to 6 centimeter endoscopically. Bigger thyroids can always be done with the help of a robot. Transaxillary robotic thyroidectomy is almost going to be a gold standard in the near future. So thyroid is done, standard. And insulinomas are most of the time done with laparoscopy. Nowadays, we don't cut open the abdomen for insulinomas. And it will be 4 times, 5 times, 10 times better to do with the help of a robo if I have to do an insulinoma. Because, as I said, my crude movements of my hand in laparoscopy will be taken over by the finest movement of a robotic endorisks. Your question is very valid and very, very well accepted. And I think the endocrine surgery robot is the future.
My point is that you have to confirm your surgical completion of your surgery by assessing your C-peptide level. So you have to take the sample after surgery, that you have to be confirmed that whether you have completely removed the tumor or not. Like in adrenal also, same thing. So do you have any facility of doing sampling also, venous sampling by robotics way?
Yes, why not? Today, when we talk about on-table completion of any procedure, when we have technology, you have to have other technology also. When you are doing a parathyroid, you have to check the parathormone on the table. And now it is a rapid parathyroid test can be done. Similarly, why can't we take a sample from a venous sample while we are doing a insulinoma? How come? We can also do an endoscopic ultrasound on the table. We can also do Now, many of the centers, my center is not ready. You can do an on-table MRI. The patient goes to the MRI room attached to it and comes back after completion of any brain surgery. These are all new technologies which are coming up in surgery, in endosurgery, in robotic surgery. Yes, I think it's
Thank you
always.
very much. I understood, but I was specially asking that in your center, these facilities they are not to confirm your confirmation of surgery, like in parathyroid, like in insulinoma and adrenal even.
Yes, yes, of course, yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I
much.
was actually trying to answer the first question. I remember that when we started in AIMS robotic surgery, many, many years back, we had to put the head inside, the Vinci. So it was so claustrophobic. So I think this machine is much better.
Thank you.
We have a query in a Dropbox by Dr. Sanjay Sunar. What are the energy sources compatible with the system? And what is the cost of the system?
Cost of the system, I will ask Mark to answer. And energy sources right now, we are using monopolar and bipolar. With the by pressing the clutch, I can toggle from monopolar to the bipolar. Most of the time, a surgeon takes a bipolar Maryland grasper in his left hand and a monopolar scissors or the hook in his right hand to operate. If you need any other energy source, uh, which is there in the other version of the machine, they have a harmonic also, which will be added soon to RCS also. Then we use one of the laparoscopic ports to take any other energy source if at all needed. Suppose I want to put a clip, I always take, you have seen in most of the videos, apart from the 4 robotic ports, there is one manual port where, as I said, the surgical assistant is very, very important, who is ready with harmonic or ultracision or ligashore or with the clips also if you have to clip. So they will just fire a clip when I'm about to cut. So right now, monopolar and bipolar. If anything else is going to come in this system, Mark can answer that better than me, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one for me to answer as the chief medical officer because I always try and keep. I'm like the British Queen, I never carry money. I always, but on a serious note, what I would recommend you do is speak to my general manager in India, Lakshmi Kanulkar, who can work out the various ways of paying for the system. In the United Kingdom, we do it slightly differently. We have two ways. One is a capital purchase, and the other one is to a leasehold purchase over a time period of years. And we try to be creative so people have different ways of purchasing this. The difficulty is with a robot, whichever one it is, the upfront cost looks enormous. In order to make sense of that, you have to take that amount, divide it by 5 or 7 years, work out how many more cases you do, minimal access, your reduction of complications. And when we do that, we're actually preparing a health economics paper at the moment. What we show then is that the overall investment is easily repaid by the reduction in complications, the improved, the quicker time in hospital, the quicker return to normal work and so on. So, and we will actually produce a paper to support that, that claim. But I would strongly recommend you speak to my colleague Lakshmi Kanulkar, who can go through in fine detail exactly what the costing would be for your hospital, for the type of surgery you're doing.
Thank you. Any other query from anybody?
So I think we had a very interesting talk, and I must thank everybody present here, especially Dr. Subhash Khanna, Dr. Vivek Bindal, and Dr. Mark Slack. And I now request Dr. Sujit to give the official vote of thanks.
I, first of all, thanks Professor Subhash Khanna sir for sparing his valuable time and to deliver his interesting and informative lecture. Thank you so much, sir. I also thank Dr. Mark Slack, CEO and co-founder of CMR Surgicals, Cambridge, for joining us. Thank you so much, sir. I thank Dr. Vivek Bindal, Vice Chairman, Institute of Minimal Access Surgery, for joining with this university. Thank you so much, sir. I also thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, Professor Dr. Deepika Dekar, Madam, to inspire us to organize such kind of extended academic activities for the first time in the history of this university. Thank you so much, Madam. I also thank all the participants who have participated and made our efforts successful. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks, Mark. And thank you, everybody, once again. Can I leave?
Yeah, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you all from me as well. It's been a great honor to join you here today. And as I said at the beginning, the only regret I have is that I'm not with you in India. But hopefully when the vaccine comes, I can join you soon again.
It is a pleasure, sir, to have you with us. Thank you.
I'm told, Mark, that there is another lockdown in UK. I hope you stay safe. We wish you safety, and I'm soon visiting Cambridge. Thank you.
You know, we're all good. I've got a small team here with us today, and we're all far apart from each other. And Subesh, I can't wait for you to come and visit us here again, and for me to host you in after that lovely time we had in Assam together. The only thing I've got of Assam at the moment is I can get Assam tea still.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, for your information, Mark Slack had visited Guwahati, and he had a very short stay in Guwahati, but he was here in February with us. So he has a taste of Assam, and he loves Assam. He loves Assam tea and gardens. We would love to invite him to our state and to our university once, whenever he's in his next visit. I request, please do. Thank you. We can leave.